The time has come. The teams today have gone the full 5-game series distance, and now it's down to one last draft and one last game to see who gets to stay in the upper bracket.
And what a first ban here. Surprise, surprise. The Yone flex pick. Both solo laners can play it right off the bat. This raises greatly the priority on Azir.
Yep.
Blind pick Azir. CLG have to decide now. Do we ban the Zillion, the Azir? Jungle we're looking at still here. There's no Poppy ban.
So the big thing I'm looking at for this draft overall, Blue has won all 4 games today. CLG is going to have to solve the problem that this series has had of winning on the red side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a really interesting one. So they're actually banning Kennen as their answer because Kennen had been the blind on 3, both the blue side games.
Yeah.
4 C9. So they're saying that has been the issue. In the last game that they lost, C9, I would definitely agree, where Fudge was roasting them.
Yes, sir.
In the first game, it was really kind of less. This is obviously a little bit of a joke. But I do think it's probably going to be Azir, right? With Yone banned out, Azir feels like a really, really strong pick. Lulu, though, going to be the
They're going to take
here.
the Zeri. They're going to take the Lulu Zeri, and they have to trade Azir Poppy for it.
Or does CLG not allow them to take the Zeri? CLG could be the ones to pick it up for themselves if they wanted to prioritize that pick in particular. Of course, if they don't, they can always save Sivir till free. Now, what is it going to be for Counter Logic Gaming?
Oh,
they
they
will.
take it away.
They prioritize this Zeri so much more than
Karma.
C9 does, and Karma right next to it.
They're trying to go super lane dominant because now the obvious option is Sivir, right? But they want to go right at him here, with the Karma, with the Zeri, picking for lane dominance. Sivir's going to get locked in either way. I do think CLG has been getting the better of this 2v2 overall. They have been the ones coming out on top. Contract's really getting involved down there often as well. And now it is Fudge on the blind pick top here. He's taking Dokla's pick away from him. That had been kind of the inverse.
नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं ओ नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं
Their high prio one, Ahri has been pretty big, Silas, so there's lots of options still.
Yep. C9 still have a little bit of time left to think about what they want to do with this one. Instead, they're just going to get rid of that blind, pickable topside tank. With Trundle having already been taken by CLG, they don't have an immediate just get rid of the tank answer if the Ornn does get picked.
Well, and we have to remember Sejuani's already taken, so, they're not even worried about the blind. They just don't want to play that tank matchup.
Right, exactly.
And this is what they were banning in second round of bans, even when they blinded Kennen, right? They're actually banning away the Ornn, and then Dokla would go to the Sejuani. So if they want to have him on a tank, which they do not, it's going to be Gwen. So Dokla going to be going back to the carries, playing something a little bit more aggressive. Remember, the true damage did get nerfed. On the center snip of the Q, it went from 75%, I think, of the damage down to 50 on this patch, so it has been nerfed. LeBlanc does feel like an obvious one. It's one of Jensen's best champs historically. It is fairly blind pickable here, but Lissandra and answers like that are more niche could potentially come out.
LeBlanc has already eaten a few bans so far in this series, and now in game number 5, she will make her first appearance.
Do you think Palafox slams down like a Lissandra or a Mouse?
He also really likes the Rise into it, I know, so it's one of these two, Lissandra, Rise.
Viego, the jungler for C9, here as their final pick of the draft. CLG, they still got a little bit of time left to think, hey, he must have heard you, Isaac. He's hovering over all these.
I mean, those
nice
are the
LeBlanc.
big kind of obvious solo queue counter picks. We don't always get them in pro play. Malzahar's really good. It is going to be Vex instead.
Oh.
So if you prime the Fear passive with the W, as soon as he goes in, you can hit him with the W. You do have to hold your spells to be able to land the Fear as soon as he distorts in. But that can be very, very effective, and it gives them some dive here alongside Dokla. Palafox can be flying into that back line, trying to pile in. It is double AP soul laners, Karma's magic damage, and Zeri has a lot of magic damage though, so MR is going to be hyper effective here, I think, on the Sejuani.
Yep.
And even things like, potentially like a Mar or something for Blabber could be really, really good.
We've had bloody bottom lanes. We've had bloody top lanes. I think this is the game for the bloody mid lanes here early. The mid laner that gets to roam between LeBlanc and Vex first has huge implication for that bottom lane. And those AD carries are going to be scaling. The AD carries have determined the later game. So which mid laner gets opened up first to be able to move down there? Vex, super long range on the ultimate. Burst champion can definitely make those just as powerful as the roams from a LeBlanc assassin.
And this seems really hard for a Sivir to play. Between the Gwen immunity, the pillars there, all the dive coming in, it's going to be really difficult with that short range to actually navigate these fights and get out enough damage.
Well, that is the task. C9 and CLG tied up at 2-2. CLG trying to do what neither team has been able to accomplish so far in this series, getting a win on the red side. What do you got here for us, Isaac? Sounds like something interesting.
Luger playing Cleanse Ghost. Not something I can ever say I've seen in pro play. So he's actually dropping the flash straight up, saying he's going to get more value out of the Ghosts here. It does mean that in these long extended fights, it could be really, really valuable, but if Jensen pops out of nowhere right onto you, you cannot necessarily dodge with just the Ghost. Same thing with Sejuani ults and all this, so there is going to be a cost to that.
I do not remember the last time I saw Ghost Cleanse
where it wasn't
serious
inching.
Right, exactly. It's normally the big red flag warning, but here in game number 5, Luger thinks that's the answer to this C9 comp.
Won't be able to flash away from Viego ultimates. Won't be able to flash away from LeBlanc's distortions. See if that move speed can keep him just on the outskirts of danger, though. When used perfectly, that move speed can be devastating.
They're next week, guys. Calm down. All right, but yeah, no, it's going to be interesting, right? It's putting a lot of faith in your ability to sidestep skill shots and your ability to use that E perfectly to be able to actually dash out here and dodge it. You can see Jensen career 24-7 on LeBlanc. Absolutely monstrous.
Yeah, CLG is in their hell. So the last time CLG was in Summer Split playoffs 2019, so just the fact they made it here is impressive enough, but they're really taking C9 to map 5 for round 1, so it's a really big day for the CLG fans. Yes, it is. This squad has showed up so big, all split long, and now they're making Cloud9 go the distance. Sven losing out in these early trades against Luger and Poom. Remember, game number 1, it was Berserker and Sven with that Callista absolutely slamming the bottom lane. But ever since then, Luger and Poom have bounced back wonderfully.
Yeah, and he's actually using his Qs on the minions here, not going for the extra harassment as Berserker and Sven trying to get early access to the level 2. Second wave has arrived, trying to chunk it down.
Okay, I'll just keep shooting those. Meanwhile, top side, Dokla versus Fudge. Dokla hitting level 2 first. Just chops him up.
Yeah, that's rough. You just got to stay in XP range now. Sven and Berserker trying to play for level 2 here. Trying to make sure that they're not missing that last melee minion. They likely are going to miss it. Only Sven gets it, so Berserker did miss the XP on that minion. He will be 1 down. Not the biggest of deals, but Karma is going to be tough for them to actually deal with in this 2v2. Karma's so much more lane dominant. And we see another Mantra Q hit. That's back-to-back that he's been able to nail. They're going to be running out of sustain on that C9 bot lane.
Meanwhile, I really like that we have this view right now because you can see with the pushing lanes
They
here,
want to dive top. Look at where
CLG,
Contracts is going.
they actually have what it takes to pull off this dive, though? Dokla and Contracts. Okay, Dokla takes a little snip out of him. Fudge still has about half of his HP. Contract's gonna start it off. Fudge wants to get away, but it can't be done. Is it a 1-for-1? Yes, the turret finishes it off and ties it up.
That is huge for Fudge, able to actually get that 1-for-1. Does get the flash out of Contracts, the ghost out of Dokla. He can TP back and pick up most of the wave here. That is really, really big. Would have been rough if he goes down without getting anything.
But I love the fact that, again, it's a 3-minute first blood. It's these teams willing to play aggro early. It's such a fun series to watch. As Sven eats a little bit of damage, Luger and Poom backing up. They know their jungler is on the other side of the map. Even if C9s is doing the same, it means they don't have any help, and their health bars are not looking fantastic. Poom's gonna try to freeze this wave right here. Goes for a bit of Mantra Q poke, but just barely misses it. Now the wave collides, Luger can pick it up and just keep on scaling here with this Zeri that's had a lot of big moments so far in this series.
Yeah, able to get the first shot there for Cloud9's bottom lane, though, so they'll get the first reset. And the tracking you can see already coming out as they ping down the expected side here for Cloud9. Blabber resets up the top side there with the Viego. They know they're going to play around the expected position. With those Scuttle Crabs traded as well, it's going to be opposite side jungle.
Something we'll also have to keep in mind for later on is that C9 is playing with the extra teleport. This is not something we've really seen so far in that series. Palafox, had always been playing TP himself. But it is going to be Ignite this time on the Vex, so he's looking for that kill pressure. But it does mean that CLG are going to have... Oh my god, Blabber flashed the wall. He's looking for the wraparound.
He really wants
No
this
ghost.
on Dokla. The mist coming around the wall. Dokla's going to at least be able to see that one to start his retreat. But Fudge is ready to layer the CC. CLG's top laner lives. He lives.
Woo, just barely. All right, that is definitely going to be TP used. Blabber, though, I like the attempt because you can just actually hover behind the Scuttle Crab vision if you hug the top side wall of the Baron Pit. He did that and then flashed around to guarantee he gets there. But now, CLG know, all right, top side jungle pressure for Cloud9. We've got bottom side pressure. Let's push in.
Yeah,
What?
Palafox was 6. I think they could threaten that dive, but without it, that's way too risky.
Yeah, there's just not enough burst when they're both at full HP, when it is a Lulu that has the ability to polymorph one of the targets. Very scary stuff. Back in top side, yes, Dokla has used teleport to return, but now immediately walking back away from Fudge. Sejuani surprisingly capable of trading back pretty well as long as you don't get caught in the middle part of those scissors.
Yep, absolutely. You just got to be looking for the side steps. It's so important to use your dodges side to side against Gwen instead of front to back. You always got to be dodging that true damage here.
Contract showing up mid lane as the mid laners trade back and forth a little bit, but Jensen had level 6 first, so Contract's presence there is just saying, hey, you can't try to do any crazy all-ins right before he hits 6, just shadowing him a little bit.
Meanwhile, we still have not had the recall from Luger. Staying in lane this entire time, pushing out again. Here goes Palafox, so hits the ultimate.
Palafox looking for Jensen, but he can't get enough damage. It just forces out the passive. Jensen doesn't need to use his flash. Both summoners from Palafox there.
This is actually huge for Jensen because he has TP advantage, so Poom needs to help him reset this wave as fast as possible because Jensen is going to TP back, and if this wave gets held, then Palafox would be way down. So Poom will be able to help him reset it. The wave won't get frozen, I don't think, unless Jensen wants to try to get back and pull it to the side brush. No, he's just going to clear it out, looks like.
Yeah, instantly going to answer here. He does have the flash advantage, so Vex is actually very vulnerable in this matchup.
Okay.
Now there's no threat for Palafox, no ultimate for the burst, no ignite, but also no defense, no flash to escape. LeBlanc with flash is a guaranteed setup, and once you pass this 7-minute mark, Blabber should be hitting level 6 anytime now. With Viego ultimate, that is insane kill pressure on this Vex. LeBlanc can guarantee the engage, Blabber with the ultimate could look for the execution. So Cloud9 got to be thinking a route, possible plays to punish that mid.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, Jensen just ended up thinning the wave, not actually pushing it, so he did actually pull the wave a bit, and it means at least a full wave will be denied from Palafox, and the wave is going to be in that perfect spot to actually set up a gank, and that's why we see Blabber hanging around. Fudge was cheating down from top lane, and Palafox is playing max range because he knows he could be in trouble.
Exactly, since that Vex has no escapes there, no flash or anything, so hovering at tower. Also hovering to his side of the jungle. You can see as he moves down to the bottom side over by Contracts.
Luger will step up to the tri-brush here, fires out the laser in case Berserker and Sven try to take that shortest route back to the turret. Luger's Zeri. Very, very frightening stuff here. This pick has been incredibly potent so far in the series. Still, gonna have to see how the Ghost change affects the performance here in this Game 5.
Is it just gonna be the Dragon 4 Herald trade here? CLG pings go down. They've got vision in the back of the Herald pit. They know that Cloud9 are getting the Herald right now for nothing, and Jensen still has flash, so LeBlanc is fairly safe.
Contracts throws out a pillar.
Fine.
But this is how much LeBlanc cares about champions that walk at you. It's very easy for her to just shrug and get back to
So that's huge for Cloud9. CLG got 0, and Cloud9 get an entire free Herald.
They see him on red.
They actually catch this. They're coming over. Blabber comes back. All right, it is a red buff for Rift Herald.
That's not a good trade if you're the side getting the red buff. Unless the red buff leads to a kill and then more objectives afterwards.
Yeah.
What is the future of this red buff?
There's a lot of conditionals here around this red buff, but CLG will try to take whatever else is available here in the jungle, as they do have Poom working together with contracts to move forward and take those away. Palafox has his ulti ready to go here on the Vex, which can create very powerful situations if you're able to reset in these team fights.
It's also just going to be interesting to see how Berserker performs later on, given that he now has the Enchanter on his side. He has yet to have this, in this entire series. They're either playing with Ashe support or an engage support, right? So now, as you scale to that later stage, you have the speed ups, you have that safety that the Lulu does bring. And Lulu Whimsy plus the Ghost plus the Sivir ulti is such an overwhelming amount of move speed that if you ever start to win the fight, you can absolutely chase down your opponents.
Luger and Berserker trading here, but Berserker doesn't want to keep the trade going too long. He doesn't have a lot of mana to work with. Poom also staying right here in the brush next to Luger in case anything happens, so Berserker clears out the wave. Very close farm here in the bottom lane, very close in top lane, very close in jungle. About a one-wave lead in mid, both tides dead even 10 minutes in.
All's fun in games, when you've got more games to play, but Game 5, there's so much more restraint here, so much more pressure coming for both sides. They know this is your last chance, so we're seeing a lot more caution. This is not the crazy bloodshed so far that we've had this series.
I mean, it's tough, right? You want to be the player to make that winning play, but you definitely don't want to be the guy who costs your team the game here. Fudge will be pushed back. Poom with that roam timer. It is Cloud9 who are going to have their support down on bot's side, but Blabber just coming top to match to make sure that this wave can be reset. He wants to cover Fudge, make sure that Fudge is not in trouble, and is still holding on to that Herald. So going to be interesting to see where he does elect to drop it.
Exactly. That's one of the things that my eyes were immediately drawn to. Less than half the timer on that remaining.
And I would advise you drop it mid, because if you can take down the Vex's tower, it becomes way, way easier for you to push out the LeBlanc, roam around to your side lanes. Here we go, though. Contract skanking topside. Well, mid lane is comboed!
Palafox stays alive, though. 100 HP left. Jensen goes back underneath the turret and gets the kill while Fudge dies top. It's a 1-for-1 across the rift.
That cooldown I was talking about for Palafox just came up. There were a few seconds left on his flash timer. Cloud9 have it timed down to the T. They finally get the play. We're hyping up the LeBlanc flash in for the distortion chain, and they get the kill onto Palafox. Meanwhile, though, as you said, that topside gank did work out. Contracts gets the Gwen fed, and that is some more late game insurance for them.
Absolutely. I mean, you're already going to get outscaled in this matchup, so putting the Gwen ahead early is going to be really, really nice. We can see this one more time. Fudge.
Pillar timing on the charge.
Yeah, just drops it early. I mean, he's just getting shredded by the R. Maybe he used the, the Arctic Assault to just get back in that brush to start the recall. But now we can see mid lane how this gets set up. Jensen in, connects the chain. Once the chain is there, the stun lands from Blabber. The follow-up with the ulti
Chain
is
number
through.
2.
Really nicely done.
Yeah, even with Poom there for the shield, Jensen can flash in to finish it in the end. So they take their time, but in the last couple seconds of that flash cooldown, they do return. They make good on the play. Gwen all the way out to a completed Rift Maker, though. Gets very difficult for the Sejuani once the Gwen starts to be able to sustain up off him with the Conqueror, with the true damage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just don't really hurt him anymore at that point. Like, if he has the ultimate available, it's just not even worth trading. You just start fighting minions. But, Fudge, this is not like the Aatrox game. It's fine to be behind on the Sejuani as long as you're not getting completely run over.
Right.
You're playing more for the team fight. You have this Sivir plus Lulu bot lane. That is really your win con. So you just have to stay relevant and not allow Dokla to really run over this game and allow a side lane win condition for CLG.
CLG are going to walk into the river. It's a 2v2.
Pillar, beautiful.
Blabber is the target, and he has to immediately defensively ult to get away. Contract's pillar placement trapped him in otherwise.
Yes, does get the ultimate out there. So Viego reduced threat effectiveness here. Dokla did use his ult as well, though, to be able to fight that 2 versus 2. So fairly even cooldown trades across the board.
Fudge trying to freeze this wave here in front of the turret. Blabber still hanging out behind him just in case they try to stop that freeze from occurring. Dokla does end up losing the recall timer that he was going for there, but Blabber's still sticking around. Dokla tries to get away. Nice accuracy, point blank. Dokla can't fight him off, and C9 gets their 3rd kill.
Really well played by Cloud9, getting back up to that top side. With Dokla not having his ult, they know he cannot turn around these 1v2s. He can't just sustain through it. They find the kill, and they don't even have to commit the ignite from Fudge.
Yeah, really good job not giving up on the play. Blabber wrapping around to trail here for the lane gank on Viego. After not having ultimate, he's able to follow up on the Sejuani CC to actually get that kill for Cloud9 and increase their gold lead, 1.3K.
Boom tries to get away over the wall, uses the flash to break the chains. Palafox coming around. He'll poke Jensen a little bit, but C9 are the ones that are bloodthirsty now.
And it's a great move from Jensen. You know, Kobe, you talked about how much that lane prio in mid matters between these 2 assassins here. You know, Jensen is playing TP. They got that kill on Palafox, so he's been the one with the push. He used his prio there to move down towards bot side, forces splash off of Boom.
And the big thing is the early completion of the Ludens. So that 900 gold advantage for the LeBlanc is your biggest spike. Your Ludens plus your Sork Shoes plus your rank 2 ultimate at level 11. This is giant kill threat and uses it there. Meanwhile, Dragon started up, or at least leashed out. They don't have contracts here. He's on the Rift Herald, so...
You can't do both at once. That's definitely illegal.
Not happening here, as Blabber will be the first into the pit now, as everybody from CLG backs away. Blabber will secure this one, but the Herald for CLG's side could mean a lot of gold in their pockets if they get a good use of it. Meanwhile, one wave will be eaten by the bottom lane tier 1, as CLG completely left that one, rotating their guys around.
And I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, both teams, when you're playing with the Gwen, going for the Herald to try to actually get this split push win condition ahead makes a lot of sense. And on the other side, trying to snowball towards Soul, having this way to actually draw the enemy into a 5v5 as Cloud9's composition also really is playing towards their win condition.
But that Soul is still a very long way away. That
yeah.
first Drake only just now dropping 15 minutes into the game. As Fudge, no fear in this 1v1 against the Gwen, can still trade against him a little bit. You guys touched on it earlier, but as a bruiser or a fighter champion gets more of these items, gets more of the sustain, it's so hard for the tank to do meaningful damage.
Yeah, you just never commit to the all-in because you're never going to have enough damage to actually burst him down.
No.
You can try to take these short trades, but you'll notice in a lot of these trades, Fudge won't actually commit his Arctic Exalt, the Q, because if you dash in on him, Gwen is going to pop Ghost, pop ulti, and look to run you down.
And you keep going for those trades to set them up for when you do have your jungler or your mid laner there. You do have that kill threat damage. So you keep making those trades, for the occasion that you do have it, and you kind of set that mental expectation.
Dokla waiting in the brush, Contracts waiting in the wings. Fudge doesn't want nothing to do with it. He's going to step backwards into his own brushes here, but can Contracts work his way into the lane brushes without being seen? He's made it into brush number 1, but now he's got to sneak into brush number 2.
When Fudge does not have Blabber here, Blabber's pathing away from top lane, then you stop out on the trades. No reason, especially as a Sejuani, to bait yourself in or go for anything there. Contracts here, still waiting around, looking for a little bit of a counter gank because Blabber has been so active up there, but the timing now is completely opposite.
All right, they use the blue trinket and just find Dokla waiting in the brush. Contracts has decided this is more than enough time to be spent up here. He's back into the jungle.
And Blabber's really pulled away in CS there with the Viego, farming out. Full clear for him. Gets all of his camps done as he clears away from that top side of the map, all the way down here. Mid lane now, Vex ultimate flashed.
Okay, Sven gets away from it, but now Berserker taking some damage from Contracts. Nothing more going to pull through from that one. Blabber jumps back in, finds a little bit. Worth pointing out as well, Blabber with a longsword in his inventory after completing that first item tells me he's not going to be going for the Dead Man's Plate Force of Nature tanky style of Viego, much more of the bruiser style that we've seen before.
Yeah, very likely gonna be the Death Dance there with the armor plus the longsword coming through. Also got to showcase that nice little interaction with Zeri and Trundle. You can use the Trundle pillar to set up the Zeri zap to be able to get that guaranteed through, through terrain. You get that guaranteed crit. It is a lot of damage.
Meanwhile, this LeBlanc continues to scale up. Jensen just got solo gold on the bottom tower. Cloud9 are funneling Jensen right now. The extra money, that is going to go into the Shadow Flame Fund, and that is tremendous burst damage. You can make game-winning plays on LeBlanc. You're always looking at, does the enemy team have any point-and-click CC to lock me down? It has to be Vex being in range to land a fear or something like that to actually answer it. Otherwise, Jensen goes wild this game.
Absolutely, and I do think, something we touched on at the start, the Flash versus Ghost choice here for Luger, you definitely want Flash against LeBlanc, right? So if the LeBlanc is getting out of control and he Flash distorts on you, there's no ability to kind of have that instant reaction to respond to it. So that is definitely very, very scary here for Luger. And I like the choice, from Cloud9, just funneling this gold as much as possible into Jensen because he is their mid-game power. As long as Berserker is farming for late and Jensen is moving around the map here early, I think Cloud9 are in a pretty good spot.
And Shadow Flame is such a perfect item because you're looking at this mid-game burst, and enemy team has so many shields with the Karma on their team, you're going to get full value out of it. Jensen already used his Distortion, blue slow plus red buff.
Yeah, I mean, even with Distortion down, you're still LeBlanc against a pure melee champion.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to walk that one off without any real sweat appearing on your forehead there. 50 seconds till our next Drake spawns. It's a 1-0 lead in that department for C9. But the big thing is C9 are now up 2,500 gold just about 20 minutes in. That's a respectable lead that could really influence whether or not CLG wants to take some of these fights.
It absolutely can. And I mean, you're seeing it kind of showcased in some of these item differences here. Jensen almost has the Shadow Flame, just needs the completion gold. Palafox is way far away from his next item. 2 items are already done there for Berserker on the same side. Luger does not have his done just yet.
Ooh, this could be it. Blue buff on Jensen too.
Oh, Palafox is in trouble now, buddy. That Everfrost
jukes.
ain't hitting nothing. Jensen's still looking for him. Palafox fires back the ulti. Manages to fear Jensen away. But that matchup is clearly in the favor of C9.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you get the jump on him. He just used both spells there for Palafox, so good job from Jensen. Gets the ultimate down from Palafox. That is a longer cooldown. And Dragon, meanwhile, here, chopped up by Blabber.
Blabber going in for that one, as the scoreboard pointed out that we also have the Winter's Approach done for Sejuani that will evolve into Fimbulwinter as soon as he casts one more spell. Tier evolutions are always huge spikes in power because of the amount of time that it takes to stack it up, so that's going to mean even more for a Cloud9 roster that is already ahead. Infernal Soul is the flavor of the Drakes here this time around.
Oh, that's terrifying. When you see a Fed LeBlanc on the other side and you're thinking about Infernal Soul,
Yep.
that's scary stuff.
Boom getting away from these guys as C9 brings a lot of manpower towards the mid lane. CLG bringing contracts over to, man, that turret's dead as hell. There is no way they're keeping that one alive. Nice sidestep from Boom.
Karma speed, baby. Nice little move here. Looks like Doklet also finds the control ward that was in the back, so very even vision lines this time. Cloud9 with the 2,000 gold and 2 dragons to their name.
CLG will keep trying to prevent the waves from crashing into the turret. Like I say, as soon as anything hits that turret, it is dead. If Cloud9 are allowed to control the wave, CLG will lose the tier 1. CLG looking to put the same consequence on their opponent. The teleport's coming in. Oh no, Jensen!
TP, that one is going to be right back to the fountain. Let's see about the turn. Palafox has ult back on Vex now as well. See him creeping here on the top side, looking for a flank.
This could tell the story of the entire game, of the entire series. Right here, CLG at Baron down to 5,000.
Ultimate flash.
Vex fires off the ulti. But the Vex ult is not going to find the mark just yet. Nice spell shield there from Berserker, as now they're ready to go right back in! A massive move from Palafox as Fudge falls, and Sven goes with him.
In game number 5, CLG make their stand at Baron. Blabber fishing around. He's got 50% HP. Does take another chunk from another Q from Palafox.
Gone. No shot.
This is such a massive turn off the back of such a bad TP that came from Jensen, that came from the Fed LeBlanc, and everything is upside down now. Counter Logic Gaming is in the driver's seat.
You gotta think, Cloud9 comms were saying, hey, on this tower, when they commit to try and kill it, we make the counterattack.
Yep.
And we need a flank teleport coming in. Jensen, teleport in. But as the teleport starts, look at how quickly, this is not the replay we're looking for. This is the Baron engage from Palafox. He just flashes in. Vex doesn't need ultimate. If you have flash, flashes in, gets the fear. But the tower, as they focus down and they commit to the tower, the Trundle pillar from Contracts cut off the rest of Cloud9. So then Jensen was all by himself on that flank. And it's a good heads up play from CLG. They're like, great, the channeling teleport cannot be stopped. Just go group up on arrival. They insta-fear and kill him.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's easy to criticize Jensen there, but at the same time, the tower was going to die, so he can't TP to that. And the only ward in the area was that pink ward, so if the call is to fight, he's TPing in near the team, but C9 cannot kind of hold that position, cannot defend around him. So as soon as he arrives, Palafox has the instant fear with the W, and you are just toast. And it's meant so much now, swinging CLG into the lead in a game that had felt like it was all Cloud9, slowly creating these incremental advantages.
Yeah, coordination in the bigger moments is what means more, because like you're saying, Cloud9 stacked up so many neutral objectives, double dragons plus the gold lead at the time, but with that mistake, with that coordination fumble, and the team not being able to follow up, CLG retake the lead.
But how far can they build it? Remember, Cloud9's lead peaked around 2.5, 3,000 gold. CLG is currently up about 500, with that Baron power play being a little over 1,000 in itself. They want to get more out of these next 90 seconds.
Meanwhile, we've got two different split pushers. Dokla with the Baron buff through mid, Jensen on the top side, and Jensen doesn't have teleport, so CLG know we've got the numbers advantage on the bottom half of the map. There's no teleport for LeBlanc. He's going to have to recall.
CLG are going to keep pushing these waves up. The tier 2 turret defense is going to be given up by C9, or at least it appears. Fudge coming around from the side. Contracts gets hit, but the subjugate on the enemy tank means he can still walk it off. Blabber's coming in from the side. No angle here for a reset just yet. Massive AoE haste there from Poom, getting everybody out, but Blabber is still looking.
Whoa. They get off the recalls for everybody. Poom gonna walk his way out, and Cloud9 just are gonna go for blue quadrant steal here. Very close to getting caught in that chase. CLG get Dokla out from mid and the rest of the team away from bottom. They got away with the mid secondary tower, not quite enough to get this, the second one on bottom side, but Cloud9 still with the extra buffs from these two dragons are in the lead. And with number 3 coming up, they're looking for the plan of Contracts.
Alrighty, CLG is healed up. They're not in danger as much anymore, but it is sole point if C9 claims this Drake. CLG has the best shot they've had at a neutral fight, fair and square, this whole game long. Keep your eyes on Jensen. That's the big difference maker here for C9. That's the damage that got picked off before the fight could even start when CLG was able to claim their Baron. Palafox, root onto 2. Blabber is low. Save for the wild growth. He's not able to go into reset. City of Berserkers under pressure. They kill the enemy AD carry. C9 have lost 2, but they've killed 1. Sven runs back into the enemy turret. I can't even stay hyped watching a Lulu run through a turret.
He goes down! The teleport to top side for Jensen. Cloud9 already in evasive maneuvers here. They want to go for at least the split push on top side, but CLG win that team fight and they get their first dragon of the game.
That's huge for CLG, and not only did they kill Berserker, they got the flash off him, they got the flash off of Sven. You know, Blabber, Jensen, everyone is piling in on Palafox, and yes, they do get the kill, but the stopwatch bought enough time for CLG's front line to chase down and kill off Berserker.
Yeah, Cloud9 thought they could go on Palafox because he just used his passive fear, no fear proc, but then as they go in on him, he just Everfrost Blabber right there, and that Viego blew up. Instantly killed. Meanwhile, Dokla was in the backline. Guess what? You haven't had to fight this Gwen problem all game long there for the backline, but Dokla's got 3 items now. Nerfs to the center snip true damage, yes, but 3.5 item Gwen is still gonna rip through any backline member.
It's so difficult to deal with it. The needles flying over the wall, chasing Berserker through his own flash. Let's see how it went down again.
So Everfrost here, and then this is what we're talking about. Blabber gets blown up here, and on the bottom side, Contracts and Dokla, 2v1 Berserker. Berserker has to flash away, the Needlework kills him through the wall, and it's a wipe for Cloud9. Have to teleport Jensen out. Sven goes and dives into the turret.
Yep, I mean, everyone from Cloud9 was piling in to actually try to get that initial kill, and Berserker just gets sectioned off from the team. The Wild Growth had already been used on Blabber. Everything poured into that dive to try to kill off Palafox. And unfortunately for Berserker, it means he was left behind. He does have the IE now, but he's not ahead of Luger. These two marksmen are on even keel.
Also worth saying, you know, that stopwatch for Palafox returns tremendous value. Viego, it's the biggest stopper to those Viego resets.
Exactly.
Stopwatches, Zonias, Guardian Angels.
People talk about the frustration of being able to focus Viego down as soon as he gets a reset, right? Preventing that first reset, you flip the frustration back onto him and immediately turn the fight.
Absolutely. Some big purchases, though, happening. You know, I already mentioned both the IEs, but now Jensen has Death Cap, and that is massive. Because there's not really any MR on the other side whatsoever. Trundle has one Null Magic Mantle. That is it, because there's so much physical damage between Viego and that Sivir. But it does mean that if Jensen can land a full combo on one of these members, he definitely has the ability to take them down 100-0.
And you can see two needlessly large rods in the inventory of Dokla, meaning even more power coming up soon. Once he completes Death Cap, that is a very scary place for Cloud9 to be if those scissors are anywhere near him. 2.5 minutes till Drake spawns. Baron is alive. CLG got the first one. Cloud9 do not want to give away a second. CLG up to about a 2,000 gold lead now, closing in on where C9 was when the fatal teleport happened and the punish from CLG flipped this game upside down. It's topside river control for C9.
They've got the speed. Berserker has ultimates. They've got the Shirelias as well.
They're going in for this. Dokla is all alone, and C9 piles in after the CLG top laner. Jensen keeping the reinforcements away. Dokla's not going to get any value out of his own stasis there with the Hourglass.
That is so huge for Cloud9, and now they can try to go to Baron. Jensen did such a good job playing bodyguard because CLG were forcing their way up there. They even got the ghost off of Luger, and now they're going for the turn.
Contracts does not want to be killed off here. CLG 4v5 trying to see if they can deal with him. Vex ulti only hits the Sejuani. Luger is still firing. They need to allow this Zeri ulti to wear away, but Luger is unafraid. He should have been afraid. Shut down by Jensen, and C9 took out the threat.
Way over chase for CLG. They had to wait for Dokla. Still 17 seconds on Dokla. He's going to remain dead. His teleport's up, but Cloud9 will get the Baron off of that one.
That is huge for Cloud9. They lay the trap. They play it so well. Everyone split from Fudge when Palafox's ulti connects to him. And then Cloud9 looked like they were in full retreat, but Blabber just waits in the brush, lands the stun onto Luger. Jensen comes over the wall and erases the Zeri. And Cloud9 are gonna have plenty of time as well to be out on the map for this Infernal Dragon. So let's watch it one more time. This is after the first kill on Dokla, the initial turn on the Contracts.
Yeah, Sejuani ult does start out there for Cloud9, but they respectfully kite out the Zeri ultimate, the Vex ultimates, and the Trundle ultimate. And so there's nothing here that you're gonna really get for CLG chasing into the darkness 4v5 with your ultimates all timing out. Cloud9 completely outplay. And now they're gonna get the pick on top.
They ain't done yet. Palafox wants to get out of it, tries to turn it back around a little bit here with some Everfrost action, but he's killed by Blabber. C9 now trying to keep this momentum going even further. Blabber dies to Dokla, 1-for-1 so far. C9 disengaging it. Sven is very low. Jensen and Berserker still full HP.
Those scissors are still very sharp. You still must respect the Gwen. And that is going to put a stop to that push. Dragon picked up for Cloud9. That will be number 3, waiting on the arrival of the Dragon Soul.
Which shows, again, how big it was that CLG got that last one. If this is an Infernal Soul C9 here, things feel very different and much more suffocating for Counter Logic games.
Absolutely, but it is becoming very tough to actually deal with Jensen here. You know, he's doing such a good job of actually playing between CLG and the Cloud9 carries that they're trying to get to Berserker, these squishy members. Has over 600 AP now. Is really at a strong point of the game.
That is tough stuff. Working on Banshee's Veil here too, so that when he jumps in, it's that much harder for Palafox to find a snap punish with the fear or something similar. Really just going to enable him to be that much more aggressive, that much more of a threat here on this champion. Other than the teleport, which obviously ended up costing them very big, Jensen's been having a really good game.
Absolutely, he's been having an incredible game, and that's one of those situations, again, the tower is going to die, that's the only ward in the area. If the team is calling for fight, you're TPing. MR also now starting to come through. I talked about how efficient it's going to be against CLG's team. Full mod done on Berserker. Hex Drinker done on Blabber. Banshee's Veil done on Jensen. You're seeing MR being built up across the board. And even Zeri has a lot of magic damage in there, you know, with the lightning bounces from the ultimate plus the W. Everyone else is basically AP.
Alrighty, Cloud9, what are you going to do with the last 20 seconds of this Baron? They look like they may want to take the tier 2, still standing up here in the top lane.
And they see Dokla bottom, so they know there's no teleport. This is a 5v4 for Cloud9.
Here they go. They find Contracts. He has to flash away. Jensen still looking for the damage. Nearly one tap. Boom.
And Dokla still split pushing. CLG are going to give up their inhibitor turret in exchange for Dokla pushing on bottom inhibitor turret. That thing's gone. They kill him at the same time. It's going to be a race on the inhibitors.
Yeah, Dokla takes out the inhibitors as fast as the entirety of C9 does. They have to send somebody back to stop the Gwen. It'll be Fudge doing that job. So inhib for inhib trade.
Pretty good trade, honestly, from CLG, you know, from the position that they are in. When you're going up against that Baron buff and everything, you know, you do see Fudge gets back there to defend, but that is an opportunity now. The base is open, and you have seen those games where CLG is able to pull off the back doors.
All right, big priority on both mid laners right now. In this late game, you can win the game by getting that pick. Both Vex and LeBlanc very capable of getting these picks onto members as they're transitioning. They're roaming between objectives and making your team guaranteed the next objective up. Currently, Jensen, 2-level lead over Palafox on that LeBlanc because of the split pushing he's been able to do. Huge priority here.
It is both of our split pushers in Jensen and in Dokla that are level 18, the only 2 champions on the map with that claim. Also, both of them nearly full build. You can see the green bead thing that I can't remember the name of in Dokla's inventory. Verdant Barrier. That's it. I knew all I needed was the first
I
tap.
give you the little leg up.
Yeah, you got me, buddy. I appreciate that. But that's going to be his Banshee's Veil once that's completed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, back over on the C9 side, Jensen still picks whatever he wants.
Jensen
in that
hunting
last
for
slot.
Poom.
Jensen, if he can find Poom here, he can just blow him up.
Certainly can.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, MR, you know, definitely, I think, more effective for C9, but at the same time, you know, it's about picks, right? So Banshee's Veil is really nice. We've seen most of the engages have come off of Sejuani ults. If you have that Banshee's Veil that has to be poked off first, that is difficult. That being said, Luden's Flash alone can do that, so Jensen can be the guy that's kind of jumping in and trying to knock off those Banshee's Veils to open up opportunities.
I would expect Void Staff to be the last item here for Jensen's LeBlanc, and you can see, yep, there's the first half of that. So once he gets a little bit more gold and completes that, even the magic resistance built by the members of CLG will fail to stop the LeBlanc pain train. 1 minute until what would be the soul for Cloud9 spawns, and CLG has to be ready to fight for this.
The tension here building. This series has been back and forth, bloody, constant fighting, and now the breather, the calm before the storm. Game number 5. It all comes down to this in the upper bracket. Who gets to move on with that safety and who has to fight for their lives, get knocked down into the lower bracket for next weekend?
Absolutely. I mean, despite the fact that Cloud9 is up, they're not massively up, and it's going to come down to execution this late in the game, but they're going for Contracts.
Contracts losing half HP. CLG falling back. Luger's here on the front. He's the target. If he dies, CLG knows it's over. They're all heading for the hills. Jensen jumps in. Palafox is down. Poom is down. C9 kills off 3, and they're looking to end the series in the game right now. Luger gets alive, and Berserker goes berserk to finish the ace and finish the series.
Cloud9 have done it. Game 5. It all came down to this, and they step up huge.
That will do it. A full 5, the full distance, the full win for C9.
Woo! Cloud9, they get the final pick. and run it straight through to the Nexus. That Sejuani blind steal away really return dividends for Cloud9. Constant ultimates from Fudge, finding these pickoffs. And Berserker in the last moments here, the extra speed from that Sivir making the difference in the chase down.
Absolutely, that Sivir Lulu in the late game, so big. And Fudge was on point, you said it. Hitting the ultimates time and time again on contracts. He is the tankiest member, but still, the damage in the late game just becomes so overwhelming that you can't be able to really soak that up. And C9, coming up big when it mattered most here, but such a back and forth series, such a close one, really hotly contested. I'm sure there's lots of moments that are going to be stuck in CLG's mind, things that they could have done differently in earlier games even. But C9 definitely deserving victors here. Two really evenly matched teams, but they're just barely able to edge them out.
Such a fun series to watch. That's League of Legends right there. I'm not doing the whole copy pasta because I'll get in trouble. But in my mind, that's League of Legends right there. That is fun. Back and forth the entire time. No, it ain't perfect. Sometimes it ain't pretty. But it gives you such incredible moments when they find those shots and they find those opportunities.
Absolutely. And something I really want to talk about is in these aggressive games, there will be mistakes, but people neglect to realize that a lot of them are forced errors, right? It's things that when you're playing aggressively, when you're really in the face of your opponent, you force them to make those mistakes. You pressure them and you force them to try to make the correct decision at every single turn. And I think both teams were excellent at doing that. And really playing that aggressive style that is going to push your opponents and test them at every turn.
It was a tough defeat for CLG to go that distance all 5 games and not come up with the W at the end. But I think for a lot of people out there that are wondering, hey, contender or pretender, can CLG actually do it in the best of 5? Well, they look like they put up a pretty strong fight against historically one of our most successful orgs in the LCS over all these years. I'm excited to see the CLG lower bracket run. I'm excited to see what C9 keeps doing because both of these teams played exciting League of Legends.
All right, yesterday you thought for sure they're not gonna pick Team Liquid. After seeing this series, what do you think? Team Liquid or Cloud9?
They're for sure not picking Team Liquid. they're picking Cloud9.
Like, yep, that solidified it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this was such a good series, such an exciting series to watch. But TL obviously looked far more dominant, and I think just people are going to base it largely on the regular season. So I do think that EG is going to pick Cloud9. That will be their upper bracket matchup, and I do think 100 Thieves will be then facing TL. And both those series I think are going to be absolutely incredible. I'm so excited for what playoffs has in store in these coming weeks.
Well, this one has finally come to a close, and High will be going pro-to-pro with Sven in just a few minutes. But right now, we're joining the Tigris and Jensen for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you, Captain Flowers. I've got Jensen here. We just spoke to you last week, but it's a whole different vibe on the stage here. Your first playoff series since returning to the LCS. Is the blood pumping through your veins, or are you ready for a nap after a 5-game series?
Oh man, that was a lot more exhausting than I expected. I mean, CLG put up a really good fight against us, so it got a little too sweaty, I think. But I think I'm ready for the nap at the same time now.
Both of the teams coming into the gate really playing aggressively, which a lot expected from these squads. Interesting adaptations in the draft as well, throwing Sven on an ADC in the bot lane. How were you preparing specifically for CLG?
I mean, I think we kind of just focused on ourselves. I think CLG is very similar to us in how they like to play the game. They like to fight a lot, although they do like to play these like snowbally champions a lot more. But I think we kind of knew it was going to be a bloodbath against them, and we kind of just, focused on what we wanted to do and tried to execute as well as possible.
In terms of focusing on what you wanted to do, you specifically, in that last game, LeBlanc was off the ban block. You got to play her. A lot of gold getting funneled into you nice and early. What's your breakdown of that game 5 that was very chaotic from a fan experience?
Yeah, I think the early game went pretty well. We snowballed, and then I had a questionable TP a little bit. I think it's fair to say. And then they got Baron, and I felt like, oh, fuck, I might have lost the game alone there. But we kind of came back, and yeah, we kind of just won a game, I guess.
You brought the party to you for the rest of the game. And one thing, when it comes to those moments that you're talking about, you have previously expressed that you like being in playoffs. You feel that you really turned that light on here. How was that in terms of that energy compared to the regular season when we last spoke to you?
I mean, it's a lot more fun to play playoffs because every game is like super important. So that aspect, like it's like a different mental game for me at least. But I think, I don't know, I'm not too satisfied with my performance today. I think I had some good moments, but I think I had some bad plays too, a bit too many. But I like playing playoffs, so it worked out in the end, I guess.
And you've got some time before your next matchup that's happening later on in the week, facing off against Evil Geniuses. Thoughts on that and what's to come?
I mean, I think EG is probably the best team right now, so it's definitely going to be a tough match. But we have a pretty good idea how to play against them. I think our games against them have been pretty close both times, so I'm sure it'll be a fun one, but it's definitely going to be a difficult match for us.
A fun one for us to watch, I'm sure. Lots of energy from the crowd for you and the rest of the team today, by the way. And congratulations on the dub. Ready to see you in that next playoff series. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
We do have another voice to hear from on the side of Cloud9. Let's head on over to High for Pro to Pro.
Welcome back to another segment of Pro to Pro, everyone. I have Sven with me here today. First off, congratulations on the win. It was a bit pretty fun, I would say, right? Win all 5 games. So this first clip I have for you is the very first game. You guys are pretty much just invading level 1, and I want to know about your kind of like mental process here, because like you guys don't have the strongest level 1, you don't really have like pick or anything like that, but you're kind of just asserting your dominance in level 1, and you're doing it in lane as well. So you can tell me about like what are you thinking when you're going into this game?
I mean, the first thing, if you can just pause for a second.
Yep.
Because like we win level 1, so we can take their camps from them in their face, and then we also have a really matchup bot that's really aggressive. Goes to Ash against Sivir, Renata. We win super hard level 1, 2, 3 mostly. Then it gets a bit more even. So we want to abuse it as much as we can. This is called map split because, I mean, in this case, they come all 5 people to fight it.
Yeah,
so
they're all chilling over here.
Yeah, so Blabber calls in the game to just finish their buff with attacks and then flash Renata Q. I think in hindsight here, if Renata doesn't flash, he just like flash on top of him and then holds it. Blabber has to flash because you can't flash a mid-range spell.
Yep.
So if he flashes and then doesn't Q, it could go bad. But regardless, in the game, it was like a snapshot call. Just do it, just burn it and leave. And now the middles are going to be low soon, as you see up down there.
Yep.
So we really want to fight past the wave because we just went so hard 2v2 at this level. And Renata has Q, and yeah, we're just stronger. So we fight. I think Berserker should E here, so he hits Sivir as well. He doesn't do it, and I think that's a mistake he made. But overall, we get a good trade, deny experience, and we get jungle lead. I think it could have been bad because they all went there. The whole team came. You saw the Sejuani and the Viva coming across. We got lucky. There was just a flash for flash, and we got the blue buff. It was best case scenario. But the idea is to have the map split, aka Blabber takes their bot camps and take our top camps. So we have like a map split situation, and then we can win lane bot super hard. And you saw this game, the duo can't play 2v2 early game without jungle presence. It's sort of like the same thing in game 4. Without junglers, they can't really play early game. That's the idea behind Ash pick. And then Ash's big weakness as support is that you get jumped on by Kali and Yone. You saw that in game 4. I couldn't
you
play
didn't
the
have
game.
fun that game for sure.
But then you have Kalista, right? So in this game, if I get jumped on by like, let's say they have Yone or Kali, I get Kalista ulted and we're fine. But in this game, or like in the other game, I didn't have it. So that's the whole idea behind it. Just really strong laning phase. Typically, when you pick Kalista, you want Renata, but they didn't do that, right? So they picked Renata from me. So Ash is a strong laner, wins lane and has pressure. And the arrow is pretty good if you're ahead. You get a lot of CDR from the old hunter stacks, and you buy a full CDR, use arrow on CD. In this game, we have double AP solo lanes, Orianna and Kennen. So they just had like Mercs, Tenacity, and the matchups are like, they're heavy tanks. Silas is like not a tank, but he's not easy to kill for Orianna early game. So if I hit my arrow mid this game or top, it doesn't matter that no one dies to it. So this game, it was hard for me to arrow anyone, because no one just dies to the arrow. But that's the whole Ash pick in a nutshell.
I think it's cool too, because like it's game 1, so you doing this invade and doing that level 1 fight, it's kind of like a mental game kind of thing too, right? Because the best of 5 is a mental thing. You're getting in their heads game 1. So in this one, this is game 3 at this point. Pretty much every single game, you guys have been playing super aggressively in lane. You're taking fights level 1, you're just going at them. Can you tell me a bit about how that has been with Berserker? Because I remember you doing an interview back earlier in the split where you talked about how it's hard to play with certain AD carries if they don't play the way you want it to. So does Berserker play the way that you like for an AD carry?
I think at first Berserker was very conservative. He's a very traditional ADC main from Korea. He just wants to 5-5 farm and teamfight. That's like his whole thing. He just wants to, nothing happens, we farm equally, or I'm ahead in CS because I'm better, and then you just teamfight and he carries. That's like his mindset. I think we move more on towards things like Kalista and Draven. This is, I think, the most banned champ against us is Kalista. I'm pretty sure about it at least. And I really like playing Kalista because it enables me to play things like Renata, Mumu, Ashe in this case, right?
And
there's more stuff coming as well. If teams like EG want to open it next week, which they won't, they'll ban out 5 games, but we'll see. So in this game, I think Berserker should skill Q, level 1. I think he takes W, but I think Q is better for me to hook. There's one time I hook
burst.
I'll hook him level 1, yeah. I think the Q is better.
I think I can bring it here.
Yeah, when I hook him, if he has Q, it does a lot more damage, I think, personally.
Yeah, right
Like
here.
if he has Q, right? Also, I went in here because Lulu used Q just before this. I missed. So we have a window where he has no spells. He ends up having it for the end of the fight, but that's fine. We get a good trade here.
Yep.
We also have Longsword versus Thorn's Blade. You can see Thorn's Blade.
More sustain.
So, big trade. I think Berserker goes a bit too far. He could have backed off like one ult earlier, and then Lulu wouldn't have hit him so much. It would have been a better trade for us. But the gist is, we have 3 pots, they have 1. Good trade.
Gotcha.
And in Nautilus lanes and Moon lanes, if you don't press your spells, you can't lane.
Yeah, you just get beat up.
You can't sit there and just watch them push. Then you're just getting pushed in the whole game, and you're like, what can I do now, right? And then here,
Gotcha. So I'm bringing this up because I wanted to ask you, as a previous AD carry player, I'm sure you've had experiences where the support just leaves you randomly. You're like, all right, where is this going? So my question is, has playing AD carry helped you knowing when to roam? Because you're kind of gone for like a minute and a half, you do get a kill, but has that experience helped you to like know when to roam, or is it kind of like Fudge telling you to come up here?
Yeah, I can hit boss.
Yep.
So my thought process in the game is that they have Sivir, Asherah, and Lulu starting as Sivir. They can't dive him. They don't have Ignite and don't have any damage to kill him. So he can't get dove 2v1. So worst case, what happens here is top doesn't die, whatever. I go back bot, nothing happens. I lost my experience, but that's it, right?
Yep.
And my ace loses some minions, that's fine. The game will go on. But his wave top is bad, and he's playing Sejuani without flash. So either he doesn't farm minion for the next minute and a half while I'm missing, because he can't farm even after I'm missing, right?
Yep.
And if Trundle comes here, we can 2v3 them with Nocturne. So here in the game, I asked Fudge from base, Fudge, if I go top now, will he die? And Fudge said, yeah. And then I'm like, all right, fuck it. And then we call it here in the game. We call it in the game here. If he goes for the million minions, we just go.
Yep.
I said, if it's a million, we go. And I went. My hook was a bit sketchy here. It was like a little bit too much to the right. I think that.
It's a pretty fat hook though.
Yeah, no, it's balanced,
clean.
right?
Here, let me see if I can pause right at the hook.
Yeah, it's like you see, like it's a bit. I mean, Sejuani is also fat, but
She does have a big
I think if I aim a little bit more to the left, he can't dodge it, no matter what. I was like, oh my god, if I miss this, it's over. Mentally,
that'd be pretty embarrassing,
It's
right?
mentally over for me if I miss this hook. And I'm like, Master he's dead here, and get killed to Kennen. So Kennen has a freeze and a kill, and I hope he'll carry, which he had one good team fight middle of the game at some point. I think it's this one probably.
Yeah, this is the one actually.
Yeah.
So I have a question as well. So obviously you've played AD carry for a very long time. You usually want to stay alive till the end, but as support, when you're playing an engage support, you actually kind of want to die first or second, right? So how'd you go about learning that? Because here you watch this team fight, obviously it's a pretty crazy one. Fudge gets a huge ultimate.
Yeah.
But for you, what are you looking for in a team fight, and how has that been difficult since you've always been trying to stay alive previously, but now you're trying to die actually?
I mean, he hit pause for a second.
Yep.
So like the dying thing is like, I admire people like Vulcan or Hylissang who have the whatever it takes mentality. Just go and die if you have to. You know, like I will die for my teammates to carry. It doesn't matter. KD is completely irrelevant support. Some games you have to go your turn. When you're playing Nautilus as a single tank against Trundle, balanced champ by the way, you just have to die.
Yep.
This is how it is. You have to go into teamfight thinking, I will die, but I will press ult on Siri before and make him less OP for 1 second while he's in the air. And that's like the whole gist of Nautilus in this game. It's just to, there's like this, the Siri dance is like, if he ults too early, you back off. But if he ults, like this, here we can back off, right? So here I was saying in the game back off, but I was like, no, go. And then I'm waiting for Siri to come back to the fight here, to ult him, because he's the only one that matters in the fight. So I ulted him, and I hit Ari as well, because I'm too good.
Was it planned or you got lucky?
It wasn't too good, but Ari is always trolling the fight anyways. Like he's out the fight, right? And here I watched, didn't use it, because I'm too bad. That's okay. Because normally I have Hex Splash, right? But it's disabled on TR. So, anyways, side note. But yeah, in the fight, once the fight, it's like, they engage, they back off, by re-engages. All I'm saying in the game is, I will ult Siri no matter what. Nothing else matters. Ari's already trolling too hard. So I just ult Siri, and when he gets knocked up in the air, he has to run backwards, right? Because if he doesn't run backwards, he gets ulted by Kennen and Orianna, and it's over. So when that happens, those guys are dead. Because they're already like really deep.
You bought a lot of space.
Yeah,
can't.
they're deep. They're trying to make space for their AD carry, their mid. So these guys are gonna die now to Orianna ult. I think Fudge does a good job here of not ulting these guys and flashing in first and then just dying. So Yeah, I think this fight was probably won by us, but I think they went too far, and I think Ari griefed the fight a little bit. I should stop watch here, and maybe I'll die later, and maybe I won't die, but yeah.
Awesome.
Also, I should have went the even strat item, still block it, because it's more aggressive, and our comp is all about someone has to die in our Nocturne, Nautilus, Cannon ults. If they don't die, we lose the long fight, right? The Siri, you know what I'm talking about, the Siri chase you all down, pentakill thing.
Yeah.
The thing.
That's not very fun.
The Siri thing, yeah. So we have to make our ults count in this game. I think Fudge did well here by saving all his spells for the last part of the fight.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. That's all that I have here, actually. I know there's a game 4 and a 5. That's kind of crazy, honestly.
Oh, that was
But I just want to learn more about your process of learning sport, playing, and getting better at it. So that's it for it. Thank you, by the way. Congratulations on the
Thank
game.
you.
It's very fun to watch. That's all that we have for us today. So we're going to send you all over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.